Good morning, everybody. This is Sal with Grow Your Garden with Sal, and I'm here with Dawndy Mercer Plank.
Hey, everybody. Good morning on this beautiful Saturday sunrise. Good day to be gardening. And if you have any gardening questions whatsoever, your expert Sal Sharp of Grow Your Garden with Sal is in the studio here at The Point, 100.7 FM or 1470 AM. The phone line to call, 803-799-8255. 799-8255.
And we're going to get into talking about some fall gardening. We're talking about greens, onions, garlic, and harvesting and planting sugarcane. The hurricane has affected the crop, so we have to get it. Normally, we harvest sugarcane around Halloween, the end of October, but we're having to harvest it now because the hurricane knocked the sugarcane down. And Dawndy, you've been working with your church getting some stuff out to the people of North Carolina.
Yes.
And in places where they need. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, and parts of South Carolina, too. So we've had this huge effort with other churches. So I'm at Shandon Baptist Church, and then we've got Riverland Hills Baptist Church, First Baptist Church, and Crossroads Community Church. We have several churches that have come together to accept donations of all kinds and to get all that relief. Southeastern Freight Lines has donated semi-trucks to us. And this week we filled a 53-foot long semi-truck, and It has gotten its way up to North Carolina. But we still have donations we're packing. And so Tobin Castles with Southeastern Freight Lines has been so generous in donating this. There are so many needs. And so it's been a pleasure to do that. So I'm exhausted this morning. It takes a lot to pack and box and move boxes. But what a great effort. So I've been blessed to have been a part of that. So on this beautiful Saturday, it will be fun to get fingers in the dirt and start to do some growing. As we talk about that hurricane, though, you mentioned that some of the sugarcane has had to be harvested a little early. Is it too late to get it planted, though?
No, actually, you've got a huge window to plant it in. I like, as soon as I harvest, not keep it more than 2 to 3 weeks without having it in the ground. But you can also just store it in a bucket. Go ahead and cut the ribs. And if you don't know the ribs, sugarcane's got segments, and you want a whole segment to regrow each. So you don't need, sugarcane grows what I'm going to say about 10 feet, maybe a little bit smaller than that. You don't need a 10-foot bucket. You can cut it up and then put it up under the ground. So we're going to be having some classes on it too. And also talking to some of the old farmers in the area, the wife of Mr. Trapp, and also Sallie Freeman Dixon. She's going to talk about her dad, Melvin, on the farm in just a little bit. We're going to have 2 phone-ins, so that's going to be really exciting.
So when we talk about this sugarcane, because this is radio and people aren't able to visually see this, you and I did a video on sugarcane a while back, and that's on my YouTube channel, Dawndy Mercer Plank on Cam.
Yes.
I think you've got that on your website.
Yes,
too?
yes. Website, I think also the YouTube.
Okay.
So, yes.
So sugarcane, why grow it?
Well, one thing, it's a Southern tradition. Every year at Halloween, we went out there and cut it and just peeled it and ate it. It was so much fun. We didn't process it so much as it was just a fun crop to grow. And you don't have to have a gigantic place. You don't have to grow a field of it just to have that fun. I mean, I really want this to be a Halloween tradition again in the South.
Well, you're single-handedly going to make that happen.
I'm going to make it happen.
What else needs to be in the ground today that we could plant?
Yeah, so we're winding down. The state fair is coming up. This is the time we start winding down on our collards, cabbage, broccoli. We do have that available at my store, Grow Your Garden with Sal. 113 Hilltop Drive. You can come by today, 11:30 to 3, and grab you some plants. Look at our sugar cane on the ground. We haven't chopped it up yet. But we should have that on the website soon. Definitely go to my website, too, to keep up with different events. That way you know about the pecan pickup today. The hurricane knocked all the pecans out of the tree, which actually is good. That means the squirrel didn't get them all this year. So 1 to 3 at my farm, you can come and pick a pound of pecans for $5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's
and get a farm
fantastic.
chore, rub some donkey's ears.
Yes, and of course I have to point out that you say pecan.
Yes, pecan.
Pecan. I don't think I ever heard anybody say pecan until I moved to the South, in
my.
1992. I was like, pecan. So pecan. So yes, pick a pound of pecans this afternoon at your house or your farm,
Yes.
I should say. And $5 for a bucket.
For a pound, yes.
of them. That's
yes.
fantastic.
So bring your baskets out. They're on the ground. It'll be a lot of fun.
Excellent.
Wear some boots and keep a lookout for some ants,
What a good day to be out there. And then the sugarcane.
Mm-hmm.
So the sugarcane you like as just a sweet treat. For somebody else growing it, is there any other purpose for it other than just enjoying the sweetness of it?
So you can juice it. There's a lot of different things you can do. You can make teas out of it. The most backyard growers are going to do it because you're not going to be growing a field of it. But in one, I'm going to say about 45-gallon bucket, you can grow like 3 or 4 stalks, and that's a good little bit. And you get you get some bang for your buck, and it's so beautiful growing too. It kind of looks like bamboo,
Yes,
so
it
people
does.
freak
Yeah.
out, and they're like, "Oh my God, it's going to take over the whole yard." No, we get cold in the wintertime, so it's not going to take over our yards.
And when you plant it actually horizontally, right?
Yeah, so if you're planting in a bucket, it's okay to go vertical, but when you're planting in a row, horizontal, yes.
Okay. And then if we wanted to get some in the ground today, it's not too late.
It's not too late. We don't have it ready yet. We've got to go out there and cut it, see how much we got, get it. So I should have that up on the website for people to purchase online or come in the store next week. And we should have a class up, too, about it. Yes. I'm a little behind on my website stuff.
Not that you're a radio star. So if you have any gardening questions or want to know more about sugarcane, and we're going to talk more about the onions and garlic and greens as well. But again, call The Point at 803-799-8255. 803-799-8255. The nutritional value of sugarcane, it is pure. And if you want a sweet treat, I mean, there are going to be calories like with anything, but at least this is
But it's a lot of work to get to it, so you're burning that calories just trying to get into the sugarcane.
There you go. And you grew up doing that as a child. That was part of family tradition to grab the sugarcane and eat from it.
Yes, and we didn't go to stores and get tons of candy. We kind of lived off the land, and that was our candy. That was our special. We did have Halloween candy, especially as we got a little bit older. But as little kids, yeah. And we're going to go on a break, but when we come back, we're going to speak with Miss Sallie Dixon. Her dad grew up in the Blythewood community and processed sugarcane, so we're going to get a lot more in-depth information from her and how she and her dad had that tradition.
Wonderful. We'll be back at The Point, 100.7 FM, right after this.
Hey, welcome back. I got it a little mixed up. So actually, the first person that we're going to talk to is our segment's called Meet the Farmer. We're going to talk to H&J Cattle Company. And Jonathan is one of the co-owners, and he's on the phone right now. He's a drop-off person. He's always dropping off that yummy meat. Hey, Jonathan.
Hey, Sal. How are you? Good morning.
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for calling in. Tell us a little bit about your farm, hon.
Yes, ma'am, of course. So we started, it officially started as Agri-Forest Farms, and it started off as just Chad and his family doing it. And so we decided to expand it a little bit more, and now we're selling our cattle instead of quarter, halves, and wholes. We're also doing that, but we're also selling bundle boxes. We're also selling singular cuts of meat. And with our website and the practices that we do, we want to ensure that our customers not only know that we practice what we preach, but we also make sure that they get what they're getting and what they're asking for.
Jonathan, this is Dawndy Mercer Plank. I got to ask you, when you say selling our cattle, I'm picturing I can come by and get a cow and let it graze in the backyard. So when you say selling our cattle, give us more specifics what that means.
Yes, ma'am, of course. So with our farm, we are certified Wagyu farmers, and with that, we do sell our Hereford. We are part of a Hereford community, so we do trade cows, but then we also, as well, we take our cows, and after we raise them for not a few months, but for maybe about 18 to 24 months, after that, we make sure to feed them a really good diet, grass-fed, grain-finished, and we feed all of our cows. We've had a dietitian come in and examine our diet, and he practically was just excited that we took the time to even ask him to come and look at it to make sure that our cattle were getting proper nutrients, making sure that they were healthy and they were living a sustainable life that wasn't causing them more stress.
You know, that is such a huge thing, Sal, right now, because people are realizing, as science is, exposing how really detrimental it is when you're talking about the quality of human food. And to have the antibiotics, the GMOs and such. So, Jonathan, I know that's really good news for people who are meat eaters. They want that grass-fed food or, animal. There's a lot of emphasis now on trying to find your food that is not filled up with antibiotics.
Exactly.
Yes, ma'am.
And I learned from Jonathan and Duncan and Chad that completely grass-fed cattle, it doesn't have the same taste and the fat, so that's why they have to finish it off. So some people go and they get meat that's totally grass-fed and they're like, and get turned off by it from the taste, but the grain-fed really helps. Can you explain that? The marble of the meat, right?
Yes. So with the grain finish, it gives, long story short, the grain basically just is an extra added step of nutrients to help the cows with their dietary supplements and help with blood flow and help the cows, feel better about what they're eating and feel better about how they're going about life. So whenever we go to process them, the meat isn't as bad, because whenever you don't do, or you can do grass finish, but then you can also do grain finish, and the difference between the two mainly is just how the marbling looks. So marbling, for those who do not know, is it looks like little white lines of fat throughout your meat, but because of those little white lines, that's where all the flavor sits. That's where all of the good, rich, buttery flavor from your steak. So whenever you grill something and you grill a steak and you cut it in half and all the juices come out, that's that marbling inside of your steak. Those are the flavors, the juices, the tastiness of what H&J cattle is. Whenever we sell our meat, Taste Tradition, Taste H&J, that's us. That's the marbling, that's the buttery flavor from the steaks, the burger, the roast, and just the difference between the grain and grass is just kind of the way that marbling can come out and the way that it can help the cow with its digestive system.
Where are you guys? Where is H&J Cattle Company?
Yes, ma'am. So we have our official farm, and then we have two pickup locations. We have our Saluda County farm. It is at oh my gosh, I completely forgot the address off the top of my head.
Enough said. It's in Saluda County.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. It's 2074 Bethany Schoolhouse Road, and we have two pickup locations. Our 1230 Richland Street office, and then we have our other pickup location at Grow Your Garden in the South.
Excellent. So if somebody is interested in purchasing their meat through you guys, would they come to the Saluda County location as well, or just go to one of the two pickup locations?
Well, you could do one of the two pickup locations, or you could reach out on our Facebook, our Instagram, or go to our storefront at handjcattle.co. And more than likely, we will have somebody reach out to you within 24 hours to coordinate to figure out where we would like to get your order. We do local deliveries as well for orders that are $250 more, or $250 for the minimum delivery to waive the delivery fee. But if it's under $250, it's a $25 delivery. But we do offer shipping as well for people who aren't local to the Midlands or to the East Coast. And we just are excited to have people come and try out our meat. We are just, I'm just in awe with how awesome everything's going right now.
Oh, we're so glad to hear that for your company. Sal, your gardening show, you're showing people they can live out of their garden, and then something like what Jonathan is talking about, you could easily, for meat eaters, if you purchase your meat from H&J Cattle Company and you get your vegetables out of the garden, the trips to the grocery store, buying food where you don't know where it's come from and you don't know how it was fed, in the garden, and like this with the cows, the cattle, for what Jonathan's talking about, it changes the quality of food.
Yes, it gets you off the carbs and the processed food. When you've got good nutrition food like their cattle, their beef, and you've got good healthy vegetables, your body's taking in all that nutrients. And you're not craving all the junk. Mm-hmm. It really resets your
tortilla chips.
Yeah, exactly. You will not want to go buy some of the fast food places after that, after having one of your burgers, right?
Yes, and like I was wanting to move towards was, the good thing about us is we've done months of market research, and when we've gone to grocery stores, we've gone to local delis, we've spoke to local customers. We've gone out and put our feet to the ground and we started running. And this is our best selling point is it's not as expensive as people think.
No,
we actually are almost, if anything, probably $1 and some change more than what we're charging at a grocery store.
For really healthy stuff, yes.
Yes.
And I am so excited about your puppy packs that you're going to have pretty soon.
Yes.
It's going to have the organs for anybody who's feeding raw diets. Now, I cook for my dogs because they're a little older and their teeth are a little, missing. But I'm really excited. He's supposed to have that hopefully in next month, maybe 2 months up on your website.
Yes. What are puppy packs, Jonathan?
So the puppy pack is for some of our customers who have older dogs or dogs who have a more leaner and raw diet. So what we're offering is we're hoping to put together a bundle and call it the puppy pack or raw diet pack, and it's just a set of organs, and it's what you can feed your animal, or if you have recipes that require organs, you can order that as well. But we want to make sure that all of our customers are tended to, even our feline and our companions.
Right now, dogs and cats everywhere calling in to the point. Yeah, 100.7 FM. Like
my chow loves. I'm waiting for Mad Bear to call in.
Yes.
So you can order at HandJCattle.co. There's no com on it, right?
Yes, ma'am. Just .co.
Yes, and then you can pick up, and if you're not into the computers, they're available too. Call them, call me, we'll get you set up.
What is a good number for them to call to make an order?
Yes, of course. For me, my personal telephone number is 803-445-9421. And if I don't pick up immediately, just leave me a voicemail, and I can get back to you within 10 to 15 minutes of getting the call.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course.
I really appreciate
it. Was great getting to talk to you all.
And starting next week on Saturdays, you're going to be at my store greeting people 11:30 to 3, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Thank you so much, Jonathan, for calling in.
Jonathan with the H&J Cattle Company. Again, the number to call to make an order, 803-445-9421, or go to their website, and that website address is?
HandJCattle.co.
Jonathan, thank you so much. Have a great day.
Of course, thank you. You too.
Great.
Yeah, there is so much emphasis now on trying to keep antibiotics and such out of your foods.
Yes.
And
that's why we crave that junk.
Well,
you start eating good food, good, healthier food. You're not into the junk food so much. I even open up a bag of potato chips to eat too, and I'm like, oh, what am I eating? Like, what? Go
to the garden and get that sugar cane out.
Yeah, exactly. Let me cut some sugar cane. We're going to be talking soon, I think after the break, to Miss Sallie Freeman Dixon. Her dad was Melvin Freeman, quite a character for the Blythewood community, and he's taught me so much. A lot of people ask, how do I know how to grow? Well, we grew, growing up. Well, I didn't grow I'm like 5 foot, so I didn't grow too much. I might have should have ate some more of that beef. But we grew our gardens growing up. But also, I have just a wealth of people in the Blythewood community that has helped me out. So when we get back from this break, thank you so much, Miss Sallie, for holding for us. So when we get back, we're going to talk to you about your amazing father and how much he's taught me, and how y'all used to harvest your sugar cane, when, and just share some memories with us.
And if you have any gardening questions of any kind, be sure to ask our expert, Sal Sharp of Grow Your Garden with Sal, by calling The Point, 100.7 FM, 1470 AM. The number to call, 803.
Hey, welcome back to Grow Your Garden with Sal on The Point. And we have Miss Sallie Freeman Dixon on the phone. Hey, Sallie, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are y'all today?
I'm doing good. Thank you for holding. We really appreciate it.
No problem.
Your dad's such a legend. In 2007, I bought a feed and seed store. I actually bought it because I had a sign shop, and I wanted to make that a retail location. So when I got there, I moved the sign shop to the back, and we still sold feed and seed. And Melvin was just, oh my God, he always came in and supported me and told me tales. I just loved him to death.
Yeah, he was quite the character.
So tell me a little bit. We're focusing on fall gardening and also sugarcane. And you had put a picture up with him processing the sugarcane. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Some of your memories?
Sure. I was quite small when he used to do that, but it was fun. And lots of great memories. I wish I would have had more pictures, of course. But, yeah, he had a big sugarcane patch, and he would have all of his brothers, sisters, sister-in-laws, whoever was available on a Saturday morning, come over early before sunrise, and we would start. And as I got a little older, I would get to drive the tractor around because he had my grandfather's old syrup mill that had a big, long pine tree over the top of it to pull it around. Mm-hmm. So I used to drive the tractor around and around and around to get the mill going, and he would stand there and feed it through. All of them, everybody had a job, and it was an all-day process. He would make the syrup, and then he would actually bottle it up by hand with a ladle into each jar. He didn't have anything fancy. Everything was manual because we were poor. And he just loved it, and, he gave a lot of it to his family. He kept a lot for us, and he sold a few things, too. So that was a little way for him to get income and just have a good time with it. And I just remember going down to the sugar patch and him cutting it and helping him fertilize it during the growing season part. It was just a fun time and a great memory. And I remember when you had some on your Facebook page or on your website for sale, I got so excited. I'm like, that looks kind of like what Dad used to grow, and I couldn't find it anywhere else. So I came by and got some, and I grew it this year. And I actually have some, so I'm hoping I can salvage it to grow some more for next year.
If not, we got some more down there.
Sallie, yes, tell me, this is Dawndy. Tell me what it is that, besides the memory, because your dad, being so special with it, but what is it you love about it? Sal was talking about just being able to peel it and eat it. It's more than just nostalgic because you grew up with it, but as an adult now, what is it that's so special about sugarcane? I'm trying to see why do some people think, hey, everybody should grow it?
Well, it's a really neat treat to have, and like Sal said, yes, as we were growing up, my dad used to come in there and he would peel it back. Of course, I couldn't use a knife. He would peel it back and cut it into little strips and give it to me. You would chew it, get all of the nice sweet sugar cane syrup out of it, the juice, and then you would spit out the pulp. But it was just so much fun. It was a special treat. We didn't get it that often, so it just brings back special memories for that. But now I'm growing it, and Sal's right. It does look a little bit like colored bamboo, and it's ornamental in my garden, but yet it's going to have a purpose. So I can't wait to chop it down and cut it and actually peel some and hopefully give some to my grandkids and let them chew it and get passing it on down the family.
Carrying on the tradition.
Exactly.
Is it a perennial, like when Sallie cuts it or any farmer cuts it, grower, do you leave some in the ground and it'll come up the next year, or do you have to replant that every year?
Now, do you want me to answer that, Sallie?
Yes, please.
Okay. In South Carolina, we get too cold. So yes, it's not going to come back from the root. How it actually reseeds itself, if you call it reseeds, because it doesn't really have seeds, but how it re-roots itself is it'll start leaning down and it'll just lay itself on the ground in warm climates, and then each little segment, it'll put out roots, and that's how it regrows itself. So when you have sugarcane around mid-October, into October, it's supposed to start laying down. I believe the daylight hours and the cold mornings start triggering that. That's when you harvest. So here, no, you have to cut it. And Sallie, I hope you can remember this. I remember as a kid, we cut it and we put it under the house. But that's before we had heat in the house. So now that we're running the heat, it gets too dry. And I just go ahead and replant it. Do you remember growing up how y'all stored it?
Well, Daddy used to bank, what they call bank sweet potatoes, and I think he banked the sugarcane. He put it in like this little, almost like a pit, and covered it with the straw and everything, and he kept it there for a little while. And I know I was talking to my mom the other day. She said, I can't remember everything. I said, when did he harvest it? I said, I know it was cold weather. She said, she thought he didn't harvest it until the first frost. Said he would wait till then to harvest it. But he always had some around, and he'd always plant it again the next year.
Yeah, it's great. It's a gift that keeps on giving. And you can, the backyard grower, if you grow some the first year, you're going to have some for if you keep saving it, you'll have some forever. And you told me...
I wish I would have been able to...
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I wish I would have been able to grow some before he passed, because that would have been kind of a fun thing to pass along to him.
Oh, he was, I'm always picturing him in my head, and there's a song called Who's Gonna Feed Those Hogs, and for some reason, even though Sallie said I don't think he's ever had hogs, he did, okay, good.
Yeah, but it was, way back when I was little, because there was a funny story about him shooting a hog one time.
Shooting a hog.
Yeah, I'll have to tell you about that next time. We won't get into it on the radio.
Oh my gosh, they probably were after his sugarcane.
Well, no, he was actually going to harvest the hog, getting ready to butcher it, but anyway.
Oh my gosh,
he didn't quite make the target, and my cousin said that the pig went off squealing, and he had to go hunt it down.
Goodness gracious, we're talking about a lot of meat here on the point this morning.
Yes, well, that's what we did growing up here in Blythewood. Everybody I knew, my grandfather, my great-grandfather, my dad, they were all farmers, and they used to call them planters way back when. And we lived off the land. We butchered the cows. They had chickens. They had turkeys. They had quail. He grew all of that. And
even tree chickens, right?
And all were before us.
You know about those tree chickens. Those are squirrels, and we ate a lot of squirrel growing up, like a lot.
Yeah, let's not get into that. There's a little thing. I think I've eaten just about everything that's out there, but I won't do it now.
No.
But I think that's why they lived so long, and they were so healthy for so long. Because like I said, he used to get around, and in the country, we don't say we just went next door. We say we went across the path or the garden or 2 gardens over. And he used to walk a long ways, and he was very active until just the last couple of years. So I think it was his good living and his good growing food and eating at home and knowing what you're eating. He never,
and he never complained. He was he'd been on and off sick, as we all do as we get old, and he still's out there trying to garden, and you were gardening with him. He was a huge loss to the community because he knew so much. So I am so happy that you're growing and you're continuing the tradition, and it's going to go on to the kids. I'm not sure they're going to want to eat the squirrel, but the sugarcane definitely.
Yeah, I agree.
Well,
but I'm glad you're here there now, because now I get to get my garden tips from you.
Oh, God bless you. Thank you so much. And we're also going to have this up on YouTube. I usually get it uploaded on Monday afternoon. And we'll have some pictures of Mr. Melvin and the sugarcane. And so definitely send me some more pictures, Sallie, if you got it. And that way everybody can meet him, because I think everybody needs to know about him, and everybody needs to know about these old souls. So keep talking about them. They're still here. They're in our hearts.
Oh, yeah. You got to keep their stories alive.
Thank you so much, Sallie, for joining us here on The Point.
Sallie, have a great day. Thank you.
You too. Thank y'all so much.
And thank
Bye-bye.
you.
So besides the sugarcane, I want to touch on the onions and garlic.
Yes.
Now is a good time to get those in the ground as well.
Yes, definitely. Garlic, you can keep in the refrigerator until about mid-November. It needs to go through a cold spell in order to actually split, because we're warm in South Carolina. And
when you say a cold spell, that's what you're using your refrigerator for, or freezer, for the garlic? Or you're saying you don't really want to get it in the ground because it's got to be kept cold? Yeah, so it'll trick it into thinking the winter's been prolonged, because our ground temperature is really hot right now. It's September. Ground temperature matters more than air temperature as far as gardening. And if you put the garlic in right now, it's going to start growing, and it's not going to split into a bunch of different cloves. It's going to be more like an onion, which is okay too. It's a lot of countries, it's called green garlic when it looks more like an onion up under the ground. When you dig it up. And you always dig up the garlic. If you try to pull it, you're going to be like, I didn't get anything, because the roots are way down, and, they're down in there. So if, like, you have the boxes that we've talked about before on the show, where you mail out a monthly box, and in this last one, the onion and garlic in there, the garlic, that needs to be in the refrigerator or freezer? I'd say refrigerator. Okay. You can put it in the freezer, but it depends on what you got it on, so I think it's safer just to go ahead and put it in the refrigerator. Okay, and leave that in there till when? 3 to 4 weeks. I would plant it November, December. We don't get much of a ground freeze here, so it'd be much of a ground freeze at all. So you can plant it if you're up north. They would have planted it already, because like I said, it has to go through that freeze in order to split. But like I said, if it doesn't split, you can still eat it. Just because something's in the grocery store, like cabbage, for example, everybody's like, my cabbage never headed up, so I just pulled it up and threw it away. Well, the cabbage is going to be more like a leaf cabbage, kind of like your leaf lettuces, until the hours get longer. So just cut it like you do your other greens, and it'll keep coming back. And then if you want that tight head in mid-February when the hours get longer, stop cutting it, back away from it, and it's just like magic. It will head up like just in a few weeks into a big tight head. Excellent. Yes. Excellent. So garlic in the refrigerator right now, then plant later, and then when would you be harvesting the garlic? When the tops die, you actually can harvest at any time, but for the biggest, when the tops die about mid-June, the heat will kill the tops. Just mark it, because when the tops die, you might not be able to find it again. We can sneak in one of your questions if you call right now at The Point, 100.7 FM, 1470 AM. The number to call, 803-799-8255. Yeah, thank you so much. When we come back, we're going to be talking to Miss Trapp. Thank you so much. Hey, welcome back. We're here on The Point, and we've got another caller in. This is Miss Martha Trapp. She is Joe Trapp's wife, and both of y'all are just a legend in the community. I speak about Joe and Melvin like they're still here, because they are still here in our hearts. Hey, Miss Trapp, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, and how are you?
I'm doing fantastic on this morning. Can you what is some of your memories? You shared on Facebook the sugarcane. Sugarcane starts coming up on my feed, all the old pictures, and it's so heartwarming. Can you share with us what you did with the sugarcane, how you harvested it, just any kind of old story you got?
Well, Joe, I don't remember how Joe got interested in sugarcane, because it's been so long ago, but when he was growing up, they had sugarcane and, of course, sorghum cane. And the sugar cane is what grows from the cane in the ground. The sorghum grows from the seed.
Oh, okay.
But he just got interested in it, and he started collecting up these big vats and the grinders and different things. And just over the years, he had a collection of all of it. As a matter of fact, we still have one of the big grinders on a post down in the middle of the field. But he went from pulling it with a mule and watching some of my cousins cook it and joining in with them, and the mule pulled the cane post around and around, and it ground the sugar cane as the mule pulled it. And then he advanced to a little small tractor, and he would hook up a little seat behind the little small walk behind tractor and let the grandkids ride it. And then he went to hooking the golf cart to it and pulling it around and around. So he evolved over the years with it and cooking it in the vat. And he would stand there for hours and hours cooking that juice until it became syrup.
He never did anything small. He always went big, didn't he?
He sure did.
But you know, Martha and Sal, as I'm listening to both of you talk about your memories with sugarcane from the time you were young girls, it's neat to have the fact that sugarcane was so big around here. And I love that you both are trying to keep that tradition alive, because a lot of farmers or just home gardeners don't realize the beauty of being able to grow some sugarcane and what you can get out of it. It's easier to go to the store and just buy your sweeteners, but both of you realize the benefit of having a section in, you know, even a small gardener can have a pot with sugarcane growing.
Yes, and it grows sometimes very tall. His would be twice or more as tall as he was, and he loved to be photographed, and he would stand down there and hold his arm up, and we have pictures of him doing that, and to show you how tall the sugarcane was, and it was really big at the base, and it took a lot of power to get it through that mill. But he loved standing down there feeding it into the mill and watching the juice come out, and he truly enjoyed that particular thing to do. And he has friends that he taught them how to cook it, and I can't think of the name of the people right now that were down in Hopkins area. He taught them how to cook it, and they are producers now. As far as I know, they still are producers, and they just really, really loved it. He loved to go down there and then watch them cook. So he would go up in the mountains and ride all around till he found a sugarcane field or a sorghum cane field, and then he would say, I'm going to take you back home and let you go up there, and I'm going to go up there and watch them cook syrup. He made a lot of friends like that, even up in the mountains, and that's why it breaks my heart so bad now to know they have all these problems, because we've been in all these back roads and everything, and all these people, and it just makes you have a lot of empathy for them, a sympathy, whatever, you know.
Absolutely.
So, and thank God for the
cooking sugar cane, and he had these labels made and everything that he could put on his jars, and you were allowed to sell it to the public if you met certain specifications, and he didn't have the building to do it in, so built him this tent and put this screen type wire around it so that he could cook it and sell it to the public. He made a lot of friends like that because he loved to sit and talk to people as they came to pick it up.
Aww.
But it's dying out, and I'm hoping that there are people that are interested enough to keep it going, like those men down in the Hopkins area, and I do wish I could remember their name.
If you figure it out, let us know, and we'll add it to the YouTube channel.
Okay. I think I've got a book somewhere with it in there, with the name in there, and I'll see if I can find it. I can always open up his old phone and look up his phone.
There you go. What you ladies are talking about is growing and harvesting and getting the syrup out of the sugarcane on a big scale. But for people listening right now, they could do that on their own property in their own yard.
Yes, and there's have you ever done it in a smaller scale as far as juicing or anything?
Sometimes he would go down and get a stalk or two and grind it and cook it in a pot on the stove just to see if it was ready yet. He didn't always trust those different things that you test to see if it's ready, the juice in it and the sugar content and all that. But he would love to just cook it and see how it was going to be for the year, you know. So he couldn't wait for the year for the crop to finish because he wanted to taste it before everything was ready.
Oh man, yeah, that's yeah. And I've seen on some videos where people are using blenders. That's not a great idea. I found out that last year. I have to buy Mom a blender.
Oh.
She's like, "What happened to the blender?" Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I tried sugarcane in it.
I tried sugarcane. I'm like, it was on a YouTube video. Of course you can do it. No, it's a little tough.
It was a process. Yeah, it was a process. You had to grind it, and you strained it as you ground it, and then as you cooked it, you had to continually skim it because all the impurities came to the top, and you had to skim them off. And he would keep like a 5-gallon bucket or a drum or something beside him, and as he skimmed it, he would get it on the side of that drum and let the skimmings fall down into it. And then I guess you say he filtered it again before he actually finished with it. He would filter the juice several times, but then he would have this thing he would put it in as it was done and opened a little valve, and it would run in the jars, and that's where my work came in. I had to help him seal the jars. So.
Now, did he clean the kitchen?
But it was a family thing. I'm sorry?
Now, did he clean the kitchen, or he make you clean the kitchen up after he made a mess?
Well, he cleaned the big pots, but I had to clean the rest.
Is there a place like that around here where you can buy that syrup, like what Martha's talking about?
You can buy it, yeah.
Where do you know, Martha?
Up in the mountains is mostly where he bought his, and he knew some people that up in Kentucky and different places that would ship it to you.
Oh, wow.
We actually went up to Kentucky one time and watched these friends of his cook it up there. They're the Gunther brothers, and it's like, I think their address is actually Tennessee, but it's like in the very western part of Tennessee. Well, probably about in the middle. And then they would, he would go up there and buy a case at the time or 2 cases or whatever when he wasn't able to cook, and he would bring it back home, and the friends of his that liked the sorghum syrup, they would come by and purchase it from him sometimes, and then a lot of times he gave it away.
Oh, that's pretty
cool. He loved
to
give things away.
Yeah, he never met a stranger, and he just had such a good heart. He really put his heart in everything he did, and yeah, he would try what I call to get your goat. He'd get my goat when he came into the store. If you don't know what that means, look it up. But yeah, he'd get the goat, get your goat, get you going, get you a little riled up, and then he'd like laugh and laugh and laugh. I'm like, Mr. Trapp. Leave my goat alone.
He loved to have fun, yes. He did love to have fun.
Yeah, he was just a fun person, and the farm, he had like this man cave where he cooked stuff also. I mean, it just amazing. We're going to look up and see if we can find somebody that sells the cane syrup and the cane juice. Because
they can buy the canes from you.
Yeah, you can buy the canes from me and do it yourself. Maybe we'll do a video on how to cook it down. But yeah, we'll do some more research on that. I know you've got the what would you call that? What do you call where you hook the mule up? You call it a cane processor? What would you call that?
Well, it's a grinder.
A grinder.
Most people now they don't use the mules. They've got it hooked up to like something that's kind of gas powered that goes around and round. But the guys that I was talking about, the Gunthers up in Tennessee, they go to different places and do sorghum cooking demonstrations. Matter of fact, they've done it at Dollywood for years, but starting this year, last year was their last year to do that. For some reason, Dollywood discontinued it. But they cook. I like if you go to Caves Cove, they will be cooking there on certain dates, and you can buy it from places like that. They sell it wherever they cook as well.
I might have to bring my mule down and hook her up to your grinder. Of course, it would get grinded real quick. Her name's Ricochet, and she lives up to that name.
Well, Martha, thank you so much for joining us on The Point this morning. Hope you have a great day. Thank you.
Thanks. and y'all too. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Martha. And everyone, remember, if you want to get some of that sugarcane today, Sal of Grow Your Garden with Sal is located at 113 Hilltop Drive in Columbia. And today, in fact, you can pick a pound of pecans, or as Sal says,
pecans.
And that starts at 1 o'clock today at Sal's, 113 Hilltop Drive in Columbia. And you can also enjoy a farm tour and see the mules, the goats, and the doves as well.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining in. And go to our website, sign up for our newsletter, growyourgardenwithsal.com.
And if you need a pot, Sal's quote is, they are breeding like rabbits at her place. So if you want a free pot, just go to Sal's today, 113 Hilltop Drive. Thanks for being with us, everyone, on The Point.
Let Ellen ride the mule up here.